Alright, it's Henry again, and it's time to start on my next project. I'm going to be continuing with my Oz project, and this time I'm doing another dual build. I'm going to be doing 1:100 scale Leo ground type and Leo space type. Since they're both pretty much identical as far as their bodies go, I'm going to be building both of them at the same time. And as you can see, I'm going to be modifying both of them from 1:100 scale Tall Geese 3. Now, some of you may be saying, I already built a Leo. Well, I did. Built a 1:100 scale, or roughly 1:100 scale Leo back in 2011 as part of my Tall Geese project. And I really like the way this guy turned out, but there are some things that I think could have been done better. So rather than just use this Leo as my Leo ground type and then make a Leo space type, I'm going to make a new Leo ground type as well, because I think I can make a better Leo this time around. Also, some of you may be asking, well, why don't I just use Master Grade Tall Geese for this instead of the High Grade Tall Geese? Well, it all comes down to timing and convenience. One, Master Grade Tall Geese costs about twice as much as this kit. Two, I already had bought these two kits for this project before Master Grade Tall Geese had even been announced. So, using Master Grade Tall Geese for this would require me to buy 3 Master Grade Tall Geeses, one to do the Tall Geese and then 2 for Leos, and then these two kits would have been a complete waste because I had already bought them. So I decided to just go ahead and use these. It's not like I really care about having an inner frame on them anyway, and plus there's always a possibility Bandai could make a Master Grade Leo down the line. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. If I did, I wouldn't be making these right now. So anyway, here's the box for Leo Space Type. I had been recasting those Kotobukiya hands and used them on Virgo, Virgo 2, Mercurius, and V8, and it just, the casting quality on the hands in particular wasn't all that great. I think it was due to the fact that the mold I made for the hands wasn't all that great. So I just went ahead and bought some of these Kotobukiya hands, and I'm just going to use the plastic versions. I just got tired of recasting them. Here is a recast of the beam rifle that I used on Virgo 2. Now I'm not going to be using this exact beam rifle for Leo Space Type, but I will have to modify this a little bit. I can certainly base Leo Space Type's beam rifle off of that one. And then that's all I've got in here so far. I haven't started, well, I've taken a few parts out just looking at them, but I haven't really started building them yet. So let's go ahead and get started and see where we get. Now, some of you may also ask, Henry, why not use your B Club Leo for the Oz project? Well, there's a couple reasons I'm not doing that. One is the size difference. Now, obviously, Leo is a little bit smaller than Tall Geese. This guy's going to have to be shortened a little bit. That I can do. But B Club's Leo is actually smaller than it's supposed to be. Leo is a 16.2 meter mobile suit, meaning that this kit in 1:100 scale should be 16 centimeters and 2 millimeters tall. However, put the 1 centimeter mark right there, he is right at 15 centimeters tall, meaning he is a centimeter and 2 millimeters shorter than he's supposed to be. And this guy right here is right at 17.5 centimeters tall, so I'll have to shorten him a little bit. Another reason why I'm not using B Club's Leo is because he's fixed pose. This guy's already got joints in him. So it's really a question of either modify the outer armor to turn this Tall Geese into a Leo, or install joints into this guy. And even then, I would still have a Leo that's shorter than it's supposed to be. So I'm opting to modify the Tall Geese. Alright, so after a few days of work, I've actually gotten quite a bit done on the Leo. Or Leos, I should say. Anyway, unlike my previous 4 Oz project kits, I'm not going to be doing a whole lot of resin casting on these kits. Obviously because they're based on plastic Tall Geeses, but I am going to be doing a little bit of resin casting. Pretty much the things that I would have had to scratch build 4 of, I'm going to be recasting. The foot, for example. Rather than scratch building all 4 feet, I simply made one, and I'm just going to recast this in resin. There's no polycap down in there right now because that would have been troublesome for recasting, but I'll drill a hole and insert the polycap after I've made copies of it. Anyway, just use a little resin block right there. Had some plot plate on the sides and the top. Did some plot plating on the bottom of the foot. If I can zoom in on this. Come on, focus. That I think turned out really, really well. There we go. I really like the way this turned out. So, yeah, the foot looks good. It's practically done. All I got to do is clean up that little bit of putty where I filled in some gaps, sand that down, and the foot will be finished. Alright, lower leg. Here we go. The lower leg of the tall geese was very, very long and tall geesey. So I cut off the top knee armor and where the knee joint connected, cut all that off. Cut off what little tiny ankle armor tall geese had, and just filled in the leg because, you know, it was hollow, and then glued in the peg for the ball joint at the ankle. Drilled a hole here, and I'm going to be using the same knee joints that I used on Mercurius and V8. I really liked how those worked out. They're nice and sturdy, so I'm going to be using those for Leo and Leo Space Type as well. So that's how that's going to go together. Got another leg over here. It's a little bit further along. The ankle armor I was originally going to make out of epoxy putty. And then I got to looking at my B Club Leo over here, and I was like, wait a minute, he's already got an ankle armor that's pretty much exactly what I was thinking about scratch building. So why don't I just recast this? So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to recast B Club Leo's ankle armor. Anyway, it's just going to float right there on top of those little circular thingies, and that's pretty much how it'll be. Got pretty decent mobility, forward, back. It's hard to do it with one hand, side to side. Anyway, the knee armor I'm getting started on. The knee armor I'm going to be recasting as well. The legs were simple enough to modify that I didn't really bother trying to recast them. All I had to do was cut off the knee armor, cut off the ankle armor, and that's pretty much it. Anyway, the knee armor I've made out of epoxy putty and little back section of the tall geese knee armor, and it's going to be able to move with the knee joint like so. You got that weird kind of gap right there, but I don't know, I may think of something to do for that. But anyway, the knee armor is going to be attached to the knee joint, and honestly I think it's going to look a little bit better than the knee armor I did on my first Leo. It's already looking better in my opinion. So I think that's going to turn out nicely. Moving on to the thighs. The thighs I'm pretty much going to leave alone. Again, I'm not going to recast these. I'm just going to use the plastic ones. Filled in this little hole right there. And I cemented in some plot plate right here. And that's going to accommodate this this knee joint right here. I'm going to drill a hole in the plot plate, and then that'll just plug in like so. So onto the waist section. One of the things that I really wanted to do for my two Leos, kind of inspired by the Robot Namashi Leo, was I wanted him to have movable skirt armor. Previously on my first Leo, I just used the tall geese waist section. In fact, the only modifications I did to it were adding these two back skirts, but other than that, it's just straight up tall geese waist section. So I cut off the bottom section of the tall geese's waist section with the hip joint things, and then I glued on, or cemented on rather, a section from another leftover model kit with some little attachments for side skirts and front skirts here. So this is what I'm going to be using, and like I got this little center crotch piece, so you can see it right there. All I did was just cut off the little side skirts, Leo's teeny tiny little side skirts, and I'm going to put a ball joint on there. It'll go into this little polycap, and they won't be able to move around much, but the ball joints will have a little bit of mobility to them. And then this piece will just go over the top like so. And of course you got the waist peg, so that'll just peg right in. And I haven't started on the side skirts yet, but they'll be relatively simple. They're basically just boxes, so I'll be putting those on there. And I've got this epoxy putty back here. I'll just drill in 2 holes right there to insert the back skirts. Onto the torso, I've already removed the chest vents and removed the shoulder pegs. I haven't done anything on this one, but I've done some work on the first one. Let's see, the head, really not much there, just cut off the top. That's all I've got so far. The shoulder joints I'm making completely from scratch, which is why I cut out the shoulder pegs on the torso. I've pretty much taken some epoxy putty and made a hollow sphere, or hemisphere rather, and put this little brass tube in here. And I got some of these Kotobukiya poly caps that I'm going to have on here, and they're just going to slide right on there. I'm going to be sanding this down so the peg will actually be able to reach in there. But I'm going to be doing that. It's the same idea as the shoulder joints that I had scratch built for Virgo 2, Mercurius, and V8, but I think these are a little bit better design, and I think they're just going to work out better. Also, I'm going to scratch build the bicep rather than using the one that came with the Tallgeese kit. I haven't started on that yet, but you'll more than likely see that in the next video. The forearm, on the other hand, I do have something to show you. Again, I'm using the same elbow joints I used on Mercurius and V8, and the elbow armor will be able to move along with the elbow joint, similar to the knee joint there, and it's just gonna fit on there kind of like so, and it'll look something like that. And of course, like I said earlier, I'm going to be using all these Kotobukiya hands, so they're all going to be fixed pose. And I think that is just about all that I've gotten done this week. I haven't started on any of the weapons. Honestly, I'm more focused on the bodies first. I'm going to try and get them done and then start working on the weapons. But yeah, I think I've actually got a really nice start on the 2 Leos. Better start than I thought I was going to have in this short of amount of time. So anyway, I know this has been a long video, so I'll go ahead and wrap this up, and you guys can look forward to next week. I'll have another work in progress video, and hopefully I'll have one of these guys, or both of them, standing on 2 feet. So with that, I'll see you guys next time.